Sales track. Tonight we're going to do a demonstration of the Worth Account program. So we're up and running. So this is every agent has access to a demo account. If you don't know how to access your demo account, contact the corporate office, contact agent support, and they will be able to direct you to the URL, and then it's your username and password that you use for your Worth account or for your agent portal. But do know that everyone has access to what I'm putting up here, and then what we're going to see is that once you can get on the demo, there are some fantastic things you can do with the client in a demo. I know a lot of people that actually turn the program over to the client so they can see how easy it is to function and move through the program. All right, so we're going to go ahead and log in. And whenever you're giving a demo, I'm also talking to you this evening about how do we give an effective demo. What are the important things that we need to remember, and what does that look like? And Ralph, does the screen still look small, or do you have a full-size screen now where you can see everything? All right, looks like we have a full-size screen. Ralph says it still looks small. How about to everybody else out there? Is it taking up your whole viewing area? Because I have it on full screen. I have it as far as I can go. Okay, screen is fine. Full screen. All right, awesome. Okay, whenever you're giving the demo, you want to kind of take a little tour with the client first to kind of show them what they're looking at. And so the way I usually start off with a demo is I say this section up here, this entire page here, this is called your action plan. And your action plan is always set out 3 months in advance. Now this action plan tells you about money that's coming in and money that's going out. This is in the accounts and the budgets you set up. And then you'll notice there's 3 red arrow items on this particular action plan for January 2019. And these are called funds transfers. These are the teeth of the Worth Account program. These transfers are automatically generated by the program in response to your usage, in response to the accounts that you put in there, and in response to your bill pay frequency and your income. Now, as we'll see as we go through this, if something changes in that month, you will see that these dollar amounts and the frequency of sending additional money, like on this line here, it's take money from your savings and send it to your Visa at a specific amount. Here it's take money from your savings, send it to your HELOC at a specific amount. And here it's take money from your savings and send it directly over back into savings from checking, put it back into savings. In this particular demo, I'm using the checking and savings account method, but I want you to also be aware that there is a standardized option in here in your program, and that option allows you to be able to select different settings for accounts that are already pre-built, and you can do that by hitting this drop-down list. And you can look through these and find a lot of these that are operating with the HELOC in place. Let me just take a look at this one real quick. This is John and Rebecca Jones, the classic version, or the classic demo that we used to always give. And as you can see, this utilizes the home equity line of credit. So you do have a demo in there that utilizes the home equity line of credit as well. We're finding more and more people have access to a home equity line of credit or a personal line of credit than ever before. When I do my demo, I use checking and savings method right here, and I'm going to go ahead and reset that account, and we will continue with the demonstration of the product. I wanted to show you all that as agents that you have several different demo accounts in there. And so what we can do is go through the demo, but I want you to take time after we get off this call and go into settings, go into reset, look at your own demo account, and look at the different accounts that are set up and what they look like and how you could possibly utilize those with different people. At the top here, these are your action buttons here. And right now we're looking at the action plan, which I described to you. If we look at the budget entails what does our income look like and what do our utilities look like. As you can see, I've only done a couple itemizations of the food and dining, the bills and utilities, broke that down into phone and power. And then you can see we have an unitemized budget down here, $1,600. When you actually activate your program and you start to move through your program and you're building your budget, you can be as generic as you want or as detailed as you want depending on how you operate inside your finances. What we can see is that we have a person, and now what I'm saying here is what you would say to a client. We have an individual, John and Rebecca Jones, combined make $5,000 a month, and we can see that that's net take home. And they spend a little over $4,000 a month. We can see that right here, $4,044.76, which leaves a discretionary income in this particular case of $955.24 that they have that they can use at their discretion. If we go to accounts, we can see under accounts it lists their checking and their savings account, and do know that the minimums that individuals have to have in order to activate a Worth account is a checking and savings account. They do not need to have a home equity line of credit, but having that home equity line of credit or preparing to put that home equity line of credit in place allows you to literally bank like a bank. That's where that concept comes from, is the ALOC. We can see we have an auto loan, we have a Visa, a first mortgage, and a home equity line with a total of $235,500 in total indebtedness that we are trying to liquidate. If we look at, if we go back to our action plan and then we look here at our dashboard, we can see that our dashboard is telling us 9.3 years to pay off. The total amount of interest that we still will need to pay to liquidate the accounts and pay off all of our debt is $68,459. And that means we have a potential interest savings of $173,260.53. Now, these dashboard items, some people call them dashboards, some people call them motivator. I really like the idea that these are your dashboards. It's telling you how long and how far it's going to take you to get to your end result. But if you don't like those, you can always go into, like payoff date. If I were to change that, it would give a date up there. I could go into principal paid, which at this point we're new on the program. I could go into January discretionary income. Me personally, I like this particular display. This particular display speaks to me, but with each one of these, you can change the display and you should show the client to whatever speaks to them the greatest. All right, so this section here is the action plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to execute an entire month right off the bat just so I can show you. Now, we do have the ability to execute one line item at a time. And before you truly get started with a client, the first thing you want to do is say, okay, remember we had $235,500 in total debt. The program is telling us 9.3 years, and you want to write this down and have them write this down. It's showing $68,459.07. You can just round if you want. And then potential interest saved is $173,260, and we can see at the current moment we have zero actually saved because we haven't initiated the program. Now, we do have Direct Connect. I can't do that in a demo, but with Direct Connect, what would happen is your transactions would download to the program if you have them listed as accounts and you've connected. And then on those downloaded items, you would have to look them up and verify that each one is the right dollar amount coming out of the right account on the right date. And that's just a verification process, just like you would do if you were balancing your own checkbook, but it's done right here online. If you want to manually do it, the way you would do it is, let's say John got his paycheck, you would execute that. Let's say John actually received $12.98. And then because I've adjusted the dollar amount, the program, remember, was looking for $1,300. If I do not select final transaction, it will leave that line item here for 1-1 for John, it'll leave it there showing that there are $2 remaining. So I want to pick up final transaction because that is the amount that they received. Now down here, manage tags. You don't want to go too deep, but you can tag. You can create your own tags and categories in this program if you don't like the ones that are pre-set up. So we're going to say this check came in. It was $2 short, but it is the final check for that pay period. We're going to execute that, and what we'll see is this line item moves. You see that line item went away, okay? And I just wanted to show you that you could do that individually. Now, we have 9.3 years, we have 68,460, and we have 173,259 in potential and 0 in actual. The other thing you want to have the client write down is you have 3 funds transfers. So you have one, which is savings to Visa. I just put S plus V, and that's for $2,000. And that is on the 1st. If we go down right below that, we can see that we have our second transaction, which is savings to HELOC. I just put S plus H or S2H. And this is for $1,021, and I'm just going to leave the change off. And that's dated for 1/1/2019. And then our third, we can see it down here, is telling us on the 15th to take money from checking and put it back into savings and do that in the amount of $827, and that is done on the 15th. So that occurs in the middle of the month, and the reason the program does that is it wants to see how you do leading up to this point with your budget in order to make sure that you have that $827.45 there available in order to send that money back into savings from your checking account. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go ahead and select an entire month. So you can do an entire month at a time. I'm going to do execute multiple transactions. You do have to have a category on everything, so I'm going to put this as home. And let me see. What do I want to put in there? Put this is our mortgage. And then our HELOC. I'm going to go over here to home as well. And I'm going to put, see what financial has. Well, I'm just going to drop home, and for this, you can create your own. You can actually create a category as home equity line of credit. Visa, I'm just going to put that under bills and utilities. HELOC, this is going to be, let's see what this one is. Oops, this is a funds transfer, so transfers and payments. This is from savings. So that's a savings transfer. This is also a savings transfer. Remember, these were the transferable items. This is power, paycheck, telephone, commissions, paycheck, food and dining. This will be a transfer as well, which will be a checking excuse me, be a checking transfer. And then this right here, I can put under bills and utilities. This is my auto loan. So I'm just going to put it under bills and utilities. And for right now, and then uncategorized, we're going to drop this into bills and utilities as well. So we can see that all of these were done. Now, let's say in the power bill, let's say the power bill was actually $300. So I'm going to go up a little bit, and we want to select all of these as final transactions for the month. We're going to go ahead and execute that month, and we'll see it'll take us back to the action plan, and the month of January is gone. Now, look at what has accomplished here. Remember, you did your funds transfers, you put your money in savings, we categorized that entire month, and we're now down to 9.2 years to pay off, so you want to write that down, 9.2. We're at $67,419.99. We have potential to save $220,955 in total debt, and we have an actual savings already of $52,226, and that's if we stay on track with where we are right now. Now we can go into our budget, and we can see our budgeted items again. We can look at our all accounts history, and if we look at that, this shows us that month that we just did the transactions in, and it shows, the money coming from checking, going into savings. It shows each item that we actually did. As you can see here, money going, that was money being deposited, that was money being transferred, and back and forth on each one of these. Everything will show two transactions, the deposit and the withdrawal for each transaction. All right, so if we go back to our action plan. All right, so we're at 9.2 years, 67,419, 220,000 in potential, and 52,000 in actual. So you want to write those numbers down again, or have the client run those numbers down again. Now, let's say John is a commissioned or salaried commissioned employee, and let's say he walks into work on February 1st, and because contracts were held up or whatever, he only receives $1 in commission on that particular paycheck, and that will be the final transaction for that month. Now, I want you all to think about something. Remember when we started off, and this is a way to bring it back to the client, that the total amount of discretionary income per month this client had on a good month was $955.24. Well, if John just lost $1,300 of income in the very beginning of February, then we can all agree he lost all of his discretionary income plus about $345, about $345 plus all of his discretionary income. So in the month of February, just the way it's looking right now, John would not be able to send any money to any additional debt because he has utilized all of his discretionary income. I hope that's making sense to everyone. So if we do this, let's go ahead and execute it. What we're going to see is we're going to see this pay line go away, which it did. But now look what happened, where we went up to 9.3 years instead of the 9.2 we have. We went back to $68,378, which is actually lower than where we started, which was $68,459. We're at $219,996 in potential, so we dropped there. And we still have the potential to save $52,226. All right, now I guess the question is, where in the world would we have individuals thought that we would be okay if we lost $1,300 in a month? If we lost $1,300 in a month, we would be scrambling, trying to figure out where to borrow from Peter to pay Paul. What the program does is automatically comes in and says, okay, if you lost that check, you need to transfer some money from savings to checking in the amount of $698, and then you need to, after you pay your mortgage, you need to transfer another $200 on the second from savings to checking, and you're building back up, your coffer. But look down here. The program says if everything else goes accordingly, you'll be able to send $463.34 over to your savings account from your checking account, and that's your funds transfer for February. Now, I just want to ask you, who in their right mind would ever think that if they had lost $1,300 in a month, that they only make $5,000 a month, that they would have $463.34 in order to send to their savings account, that they would have that money available? See, the program is not looking at right this minute. It's looking at going down the road. It's working like a GPS for you, and at this point, what the program is actually doing is following you. It's watching what you do and how you execute and how you do your items and what money you will have available. Okay, so let's look at this. We see that that was $463.34, so you want to write that down. We're in February, and we're at 9.3, 68,378, and 2,001,996. Okay, let's say that Rebecca walks into her job, and let's say that Rebecca has been a salaried employee, and Rebecca's boss tells her, hey, Rebecca, we're going to give you a pay raise. What we're going to do is take you from semi-monthly to bi-weekly. We're going to make you a supervisor here, and we're going to give you a $10.18 per paycheck increase in pay. You will never get overtime again. You will probably be working 50 hours a week, but you'll be on salary, and that's why we're moving you to bi-weekly, and a $10.18 increase. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot of money in the scheme of $235,500 in total debt. That doesn't seem like a lot of money, but I want you to see what this does to the program with the small pay increase. We go ahead and do the increase, and look at what happened up here. We dropped all the way to 8.3 years. We now only have $61,035 in order to pay back. We're at $227,339 in potential, and we've actually on our way to saving $52,226 in total interest. Now, who would have thought from a small pay increase like that you would have wiped out literally a year of mortgage payments or a year of debt payments and taken away a little over $7,000 in total interest that you would have to pay back just by that small pay increase? We see that our discretionary income has increased to $1,185.39 per month. See, when somebody goes bi-weekly, what they're doing is actually picking up 2 additional paychecks per year. So it's $10.18 per paycheck, and then they will pick up 2 additional paychecks per year of $1,210.18. That's where we come up with the increase to discretionary income, and that's where we come up with the decrease to the years to pay off. Let's go back to the action plan and look what the action plan did. You notice the action plan told us still to move the money from our savings to checking, but it has now said that on 2/1 we want to transfer from savings to checking, and we want to do that in the amount of $698.59, and then we see that we have a second transfer from checking to savings, and that is in the amount of $483.70. Okay, now you can see how the program is self-adjusting and telling us, you know, the money for the home equity line of credit, make your payment. You need to move some money from savings to checking. You need to pay your first mortgage. Then we need to move $200 back from checking. Put another $200 from savings to checking. Then pay our power bill. Then Rebecca's going to get a paycheck, and right after she gets that paycheck is when we're going to do the transfer. Okay, there is a function in this computer which can help you in this program that can help you make decisions regarding future purchases and how those purchases are going to impact your current situation. And the way that we do that is we do that by adding a new action. So make sure we've written down 8.3 or have your client. They've written down 61,035, 227,339, and 52,226. You also want to make sure they wrote down savings to checking in the amount of $698.59 and savings to checking in the amount of $200, okay? So let's say that our client in February decides they want to buy themselves an ATV. We're going to say that we're going to take that from our HELOC because that will be the cheapest way for us to buy this from our home equity line of credit, or we could say that we're doing it on our Visa or whatever. I'm going to utilize the HELOC. We want to buy this ATV in the first week of February. I'm doing this so you'll be able to see the line item that I've created pop up. We're going to buy an $8,000 ATV, and the category that we're going to put it under right now, I'm just going to put it under shopping, And we're going to buy this from Yamaha. Okay, Yamaha Finance. All right, now remember we're at 8.361. We had those numbers. We had a savings transfer of 698 and another savings transfer of 483. Let's see what happens if we decided to go ahead and buy an $8,000 vehicle. Now, right now, all I'm doing is asking a question. So if we save this, we can see our $8,000 SUV or our little ATV that we're purchasing from Yamaha Finance. And it's an $8,000 ATV, but look what it did. It only added 0.5 months to our overall. So we're now at 8.8 months to pay everything off, including the ATV. We were at $61,000 in interest. We're now at $69,344. We were at $227,339 potential. We're at $219,000. And 030, and our potential is still at 52,226. So everybody can see now. A lot of people would say, "Well, man, I don't know that I would ever buy anything if it shows that." But what I want you to remember is these people had 30 years before they ever got on the program, and the function that I wanted to show you real quick is called true cost. If we tap that on anything you're spending money, right underneath it, it shows you the true cost of doing that item. Now, I know on our phone and our power bills, we don't really want to see that, but the way that you denote this is you say, okay, $8,000 is principal, so you subtract $8,000 from the $15,496 that you see there right under my cursor, and that is how much interest additional you're going to add to your overall equation of paying off your debt. If you didn't do the $8,000, you wouldn't be spending that additional, $7,496 in interest. If you do buy it, you're spending an additional $7,496.20 in interest. Maybe that doesn't affect you, maybe it does, but look, you're only at 8.8 years, so maybe you could afford to have that. Now, if we notice down here, by buying that, it pushed out all of our transfers. Remember, we had two. We had one savings transfer for $698.59. We had another savings transfer for $483.70. It's pushed all of those transfers out since we're thinking of buying this $8,000 vehicle. It's pushed them out to 2.5 instead of 2.1, and it's only given us one transfer, and that's checking to savings, and that's in the amount of $405.77. It's telling us to take money out of savings and send it to checking still. It's telling us to take money out of savings and send it to checking still, but it has reduced the dollar amount that we will have available to take from checking to put into savings rather than savings into checking. See, the program is operating in concert with what you are currently doing, the reality of your situation. So as your situation changes, as your bills change, maybe your power bill this year actually came in, let's go ahead and execute that, at $270, let's make it $300. So your power bill came in a lot heavier than you thought it would. And this is the final transaction for your power bill, and we execute that, and look what happens here. The power bill, you can see, has gone away, but look at what happened to the funds transfer. Remember that funds transfer was $405.77. It physically removed $300 from that equation. It removed the entire cost of your power bill because you were $100 over. So it's wondering, is your budget off, or do we need to revisit this, or what does this look like? So it's reducing the amount of money that it wants you to take out of there. Okay, so let's look at this potentially a different way. Let's say that you have a child that needs an automobile, okay? And let's say you want to teach them a little bit of a lesson with the automobile. So what I'm going to do is say that we went ahead and we purchased this, and it's going to be a creditor or loan, and it is, the name is going to be, we'll just put GMAC Finance, and We'll just put it under GMAC as well. We're going to save that. And we need to get the account details in there. The start balance, let's say we bought a $10,000 automobile. Let's say the rate of interest was 4%. This is a loan. We want to make sure that we put it as a loan. And then the account details, we'll say this was 72 months. And payment, we'll say is $225. And the first payment date will be 3/1. No, let's say it will be February 1. Because we want to see that line item come up there. Okay, so we went ahead and we bought the car for this individual, $10,000, and original term is 72. And we're going to pay this out of our checking account each time the bill comes due. I'm going to go ahead and save that information. Let's see what buying a new car, putting that in the middle. Okay, so now we can see that what it did, and we can see that we purchased that new car. It is now an account. If we look right here, we can see that we purchased this auto loan. And we can see the auto loan right here, GMAC, for $225. If you notice, if we did that in February, remember we had a funds transfer in February of $405.77. That got reduced to $105.77. And now that transfer is completely gone, but it's telling us we need to put more money from savings into checking. So what the program is doing is it's constantly modifying, it's constantly building, it's constantly restoring. Now, let's say you did that for your child, but let's say you want to teach them a little bit about, you know, how money operates and what it takes to buy a car, and you're going to have them pay this payment. That's what I did with my kids. So what I would do is go into budget. I would add an additional income. Now, they're going to be paying $225 a month. We're going to put kids, I'm just putting kids, car. And the reason I'm putting it as an income, we're going to put this as, I'm just going to put it as a personal income. And no, I don't need to itemize this income, and it's going to come in monthly. And let's say that we're going to have your kids pay, instead of $225, you're going to have them pay $235, because you want them to understand how interest operates and how all this comes together. And so we're going to put this back on the 1st of February again. So we have that income piece. Now, if you notice, I just went up with the monthly payment by $10. That's all I did. Now, watch what occurs here to your dashboard and to your action plan now that I'm charging an additional $10. I don't know about you all, but this program always amazes me. What we can see is we went back down to 8.3 years. Remember, we have the Yamaha in there that we bought for $8,000. Remember, we started this whole thing at 9.3 years. We've got the Yamaha in there now at $8,000. We've got the kids' car loan at $225, of which you are actually going to receive $235 of income each month. You're going to pay $225 to GMAC. You're going to take $10 and use it towards your program. All of these assumptions is the additional money will be used towards the program. If you notice, we're now down to 8.3. We're at 68,007. We're at 221,209, and that's potentially we're at that 52 226 because we haven't spoiled any of that. But look, right there in that same month, remember we had that funds transfer that totally went away. It's put the funds transfer back at $115.77 to go from checking to savings. With all the different features that we have here, you can jump into an accounts overview with your client. You can jump into a budgeting overview with your client. Make sure that they understand this true cost feature. So the last feature that I really want to talk to you about is if we go into our report fields, we have different reports that you can run. If we go into our accounts field here, we can have our accounts overview and our budget overview here, add new accounts, all accounts history, all of that information is there. We have this section here, which is our add income and expenses and transfers and things of that nature. And then if we go to settings, manage tag, manage categories, your notifications, this is where you can set up your individual categories and tags and anything you want there. But I want you to take notice of preferences here. And this is where the section is built into the program regarding what method you're using, your checking and savings, or using a HELOC. As you can see, the differential between using a home equity line of credit or using a checking and savings account is only 1 month. Now, if we come down into here, we can see this is our savings plan that we want to have $2,000 saved, okay? And then you can also choose a funds transfer strategy, your payoff strategy, interest saved, or interest saved, just depending on how aggressive you want to do, and I did it just on the next funds transfers. But let's see what would happen if we wanted to save $50,000 and we wanted to pay off all of our debt. So let's save that. Remember, we were at 8.3, we were at 68,007 and 221,000. That took us to 9.8 to save $50,000. That took us to 9.8. So what it'll do is save the $50,000 first, and then it'll start paying off debt. So we have that 98. It took us to 90,781 in total interest, and potential is 198,434, and the actual is still 52,226. Okay, now, I'm wondering, do you think that we could save $500,000 in the same amount of time that we had originally? Remember, this person had 30 years to start off. We had them at 9.3. So let's say they want to save $500,000 and they want to pay off all of their debt. What does that look like to the program? See, we are still 20.1 years below where this client started off. They will have all of their debt paid off. That's their mortgage, the car, and this Yamaha ATV, including the other car, the line of credit, and the Visa that we already had on this client. All of that will be paid off in 19.9 years. They will have $500,000 sitting in their savings account, and they will have $208,000 in total interest that they will pay in order to get there. The program, the way that it's set up, there's so much you can do with it. There's one other item I did want to show you, and that's many of you do insurance, and the easiest way to do that is to add the item as a budgeted item. So it's a monthly expense that they're going to pay. Maybe you're working with having them overfunded, or they're using IULs, or they're using whole life and they're overfunding the policy so they can pull that money back. All you would do in here is just add it as an expense. So we can put in here budget name is IUL, select category. I'm just going to put it under financial for right now. No, I don't want to categorize that budget. And let's say you're sending $500 and that's overfunding your account, and that first payment is going to come out on February 1st. And so we're going to go ahead and save that, and let's see what that does to our overall. Okay, $500,000 saved in savings. We would have, let's look at the accounts again. We would have this auto loan, the GMAC card for our kids, our Visa, our first mortgage, and our HELOC. They would all be paid off. And we would do all of this in 23.9 years and spend 20, and then with the whole IUL, however you built that up, however long they have to be putting that 500 in, you're going to have the money coming back from the perspective of the IUL. To me, this is one of the most amazing programs I've ever seen. The program is fluid, it's easy to operate, and it is one of the easiest ways to really hook a client is to bring them into a demo and allow them to see the function and the features that are involved in that demo account. For right now, this is where I am going to, close up the presentation of the demo. I tell you, every time I see that demo, even myself when I'm giving the demo, it excites me every single time that I see it. And the reason it excites me so dramatically is because I've worked with the program for so long and I know what the program can do for individuals. Are we back to where we can see the Worth Unlimited sales track worth account demonstration slide? I hope everybody can see that slide. Get out, learn how to do a good demo. A good demo really will trump a lot of things if you just show them the ability of the program to ebb and flow and how this program comes together for the client. Seeing this program in action does so much more than trying to explain it. And it really, if you send them videos and they've watched it, the demo really kind of closes the logic stream for that client to let them know how this program will operate. If you all ever have a need to get in touch with me, feel free. There's my information. Or you can get in touch with Worth Support or support at Worth Unlimited, and the phone number's down there. I am just highly motivated and excited about what is coming out April 8th. Every time I get the demo, it gets me jacked up. It gets me excited because I know what it does for people. I know how easy it is to operate that. And my challenge to you would be to get out there and talk to anyone and everyone you can. Get into your own phone list and invite them to the April 8th Monday night training. That will be the night of our big announcement. And start doing some demonstrations for people. You have recorded demos in your back office. You have access to a demo account. If you do not know how to access your demo account, get in touch with agent support, and they can give you the URL and what you need to get in. I want to thank everybody truly for joining us this evening for the Worth Unlimited Agent Update and Sales Track Training for March 18, 2018. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and let's get out there and do it big. Let's get out there and do it right. But at the very least, let's get out there and do it right now. This is Max Saunders saying bye-bye for now.